الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. I lost my fuzzy thing. What did the fuzzy thing do? Can't keep track of this fuzzy thing. I'll find it later, inshallah. Alright, where do we start? Chapter 90. Chapter 90, actually. Chapter 90. Wow. Bab Adab al-Khadim. Alright, this is the manners of what? The Khadim. But here it's more referring to like what? Ta'deeb. Ta'deeb, it means what? Disciplining. Disciplining the person. Because if the person does something wrong, how do you go about it and how do you discipline him? Do you beat him? Do you yell at him? What manner of discipline do you use in this type of scenario where you have a servant and the servant just does something really, really stupid, you know? Alright, so this is Bab Adab al-Khadim. You got it? You see his book? You see it? It's nice, ain't it? For an English person, that's nice, man.
Does that change the narrations or?
No. Of course not, man. Alright, so the first hadith, 170. We're only going to take these two hadiths and then inshallah I'm going to read something different today. Because people keep bugging me about all this madhab stuff. We're going to go over like 3 hadiths from this book, Al-Mukhtar. Inshallah, just read through these hadiths, inshallah.
Wait, which one?
Huh?
You said 180?
170.
70.
Would you just get the normal book, Akhi? All these hours that you're working at the restaurant, you can't order the regular one. They got it at Jarir. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. First off, the Hamid, and for both of y'all. Hamid, man, long time no see. He keeps coming in late. Hamid keeps coming in the last 5 minutes or the last 2 minutes and then trying to ask a question while we're leaving. A long time. Like, yes, last night. Was it last night?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Huh?
I don't have it.
What do you mean you don't have it?
I don't have the hadith in the weak section or in the Sahih.
Oh, you know why? Because it's a statement of the, it's not a hadith of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why. I told you, Akhi, you gotta get the right, you just gotta.
Sure.
No, order it right now.
I need to go to the bank.
I need to go to the bank.
I maybe got like $1.14 in my debit account.
$1.14? All these hours you're working?
No, I mean, I have a little safe in my house. I just put the money in the safe. I don't trust the bank.
But you trust your family.
But it's in a safe with a
Well, I
law.
don't know who steals from you quicker, the bank or the family.
That's a good question.
But as long as you follow the hadith from Ams, inshallah, and the hadith from yesterday, about, keep counting everything and make sure you got everything counted and locked up.
I mean, I do have a safe at the house. So it's
I got
like small.
I got a safe at the house too.
Is it safe?
In fact, I got a bunch of suyuf at the house. Alright, so حدثنا أحمد بن عيسى المصري صدوق. حدثنا عبد. So if he's صدوق, that means that right now the highest level that this hadith can go up to is what? Hasan. Alright, حدثنا عبد الله بن. Well, it actually could go to Sahih لغيره. It can still, because if there's another narration of this hadith. It's not a hadith, it's like we'll see, it's a statement, it's an issue that happened with Abdullah ibn Umar, radiallahu anhu. But if there was another chain of narration that was Sahih, that supported this, then it could go up to Sahih al-Ghayrihi. But this chain of narration on its own is going to be Hasan. Alright. حدثنا عبد الله بن وهب, also Misri. قال أخبرني مخرمة بن بخير عن أبيه, which is بخير. قال سمعت يزيد بن عبد الله بن قصيد قال أرسل عبد الله بن عمر. And this chain of narration is all Sahih except for the first chain, the first narrator, حدثنا أحمد بن عيسى. So the chain is Hasan. Alright, so قال أرسل عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنهما غلاما له بذهب أو بورق فصرفه فأنظر بالصرف فرجع إليه فجلده جلدا وجيعا وقال اذهب خذ الذي لي ولا تصرفه. Alright, so this is reported that Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, and he sent a young boy, servant, and غُلَامًا لَهُ, and he sent him with either gold or biwaraq. What is waraq?
I would say paper.
Huh? You cheat, man. You're reading English translation. You're not allowed to answer. Yeah, it was silver. Waraq is silver. فَصَرَفَهُ, so he went to exchange it. All right, sarf, which means to exchange it. How do you exchange it? Like the way that we do it now, we exchange one currency for what? Another currency. Like you have dollars and you want to exchange it to the currency in that country. So you look at the exchange rate. This is a sarf. But you could take if you have like gold, because gold is more valuable, right? And if you wanted to like break it down, because maybe, I don't know, he wanted to, like, if he has a dinar, he wants to dirham, so he takes the value of the dinar, and what does he do? Changes it for that value in silver. However, alright, so this is a sarf, right? فَأَنْضَرَ, the sarf. What does that mean, فَأَنْضَرَ, the sarf? It's returning back to a nasi'ah. Alright, a nasi'ah, that means what? That he went and he gave the person the gold or the silver, but he didn't take the money at that time. He said, alright, I'll give you the sarf what? At a later date. And this is a nasi'ah. And of course this is from what? What is this? Nasi'ah. This is a form of riba. This is a form of riba, because a sarf, when you're doing sarf, it has to be what? Yad bi yad. It means as soon as I give, I take. I don't give you, gold now and then you exchange it at a later date. The sarf, any type of exchange amongst money, it has to be yad bi yad. And then this is an issue now because a lot of people, and it's not that the people are falling into it because they want to fall into it, but it's because the system is making the people fall into this. It's because now, what are we doing? We're doing most of this stuff with what? Computers and machines. So the transaction is actually taking place through a computer before it reaches your hand. And this is it's not permissible. It's not permissible. Everything has to be exchanged, hand in hand. If somebody sends you $100 to Sardinia, they have to give you what? $100. And then you take that $100 once it touches your hand and you say, now I want to exchange this $100 for whatever in riyals. It has to be hand in hand. They can't exchange it in riyals before it touches your hand. Alright, so all of this has to be yad bi yad. Alright, so this is what the servant did. The servant went and did this. He went and exchanged it. He went to change out the gold or the silver that he had. But he did it for what? A later date. Alright, he said, okay, come back and we'll do it, I'll give you the sarf later. فَرَجَعَ إِلَيْهِ فَجَلَدَهُ. So when the servant returned back to Ibn Umar, جَلَدَهُ جَلْدًا وَجِيعًا. What does that mean? He whooped him, a painful whooping. وَجِيعًا, it means what? Mu'lam. It causes causes severe pain. He whooped him a hardcore whooping. Alright, because this is not a personal issue. Alright, because he didn't lose his money. He's going to get his money, inshallah. But this is an issue of what? It's an issue of deen. So he's doing the ta'deeb of him to teach him that this is not permissible. He's, in the deen. Because he went and did something that's from the kabair. Super kabair. The mega super kabair. And then he went and did this with his money. So he whooped him a painful whooping. وَقَالَ اذهب, go back, فَخُذَ الَّذِي لِي, and take what's mine. وَلَا تَصْرِفُ, and don't exchange it. Bring it back to me. Bring back the money I gave you, exactly as it is. Well, no, I don't want the exchange. Because he doesn't want to have any part in this haram of what the servant did. And this chain of narration is hasan. But this goes to show you that, not just for the ghulam, but even our children. The ta'deeb has to be first and foremost on what? Yes. On the deen. On the deen. You know, when we see our children doing something wrong with the deen, and we see them doing something haram or something that's going to lead to their destruction in this life and the next, that's when we got to jump down their throats and start, start really, bringing out some punishment. But you see nowadays, the parents now, the kid gets lazy in school. He wants to punish him. The kid oversleeps Fajr. The parent leaves him. All right?
They encourage it. They don't.
Huh?
They encourage it. They don't just leave it. They be like, oh, he needs.
Yeah, he needs rest. All right, or the kid, misses one day of school. He can't go to school, and the parents are like, like this is the Ta'amatul Kubra. This is the biggest travesty that's ever happened in mankind. But he misses every single day. He never goes to the masjid, and it's no problem. So you see, this type of ta'deeb, this is the ta'deeb that we see of the Salaf. This is the disciplining that we see of the Salaf that is based on deen. Deen, not on personal things. It's not based on personal things. If you see the kid doing something that's going to cause his destruction, that's where you got to take him and say, hey, homeboy, you got to stop this. Because this is haram, and teach him the deen and make that a lesson for him, So, Allah musta'an, that's the best lesson and the best type of discipline. Wallahi, everybody, wallahi, they talk about, what do they say? Oh, these religious people, they're backwards. Yeah, wallahi, yashhad. These people are the backwards people. Who are the backwards people? The people that put their focus on the dunya instead of the deen. They've gone in reverse. They're the ones that are going backwards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made everything clear to you. That this dunya is nothing. Akhi, it's nothing. It's going to end. It's going to come to an end. All you got to do is read the Quran. And if you don't understand that, then you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? You're a complete idiot. If you can read the Quran with understanding and still think that there's value in this dunya other than this deen, then I don't know what to tell you. You have a dead heart. You have a really, really dead heart. But then they want to call everybody backwards. It's that old Arab saying, where the Arabs used to say, Ramatni bida'iha fansallat. What does this mean? Ramatni bida'iha fansallat. This is an old mithal al-Arabi from Jahiliyyah. The Arabs, they still use it today. You see, if you listen to like Sheikh Mughal, rahimahullah, you'll hear him using it, you hear Sheikh Yahya using it. Ramatni bida'iha wa sallat. And the book that you can get, there's two different books, which I advise. Anybody that really loves the Lugha, look these two books up. You can get the PDF now, or you can, when the books are available, where you can order them. The first book is called Majma' al-Amthal. Majma' al-Amthal, where they take all these amthal, all of these they call them in English proverbs, but they're not, whatever you want to call them. These sayings, these old sayings. But the thing about the Majma' al-Amthal is, he'll give you the saying, he'll explain the history behind it, and he'll explain what it means, like where did it come from. And then, because a lot of these things they're taken out of the poetry, right? And from the speech of the Arabs. And the other one is called, I think the other one's called Jamhiratul Amthal, or something like that. You can look it up. Jamhiratul Amthal. So you got Majma' al-Amthal and Jamhiratul Amthal. Zamakhshari has one. I have it in Jacksonville. I can't even remember what the name of it is. But it's not as good as these two. These two are much better. Much better than Zamakhshari's.
Who's the author of Majma' al-Amthal?
I can't remember. I had it a long time ago when I was in the match. I used to read that book like I was addicted to it.
Ibn al-Qayyim?
No. It's not by Ibn al-Qayyim. Way before I think Ibn al-Qayyim. Check it out. You can't see it.
No, I was just writing in my notes.
No. Hamid, without the ya. Jamhira. Jamhiratul Amthal. Without the ya.
Abu al-Fadl Ahmed and Muhammad al-Maydi?
When was he born? It's like 2 volumes. It's a very, very good book. But anyway, so you didn't bring me none of that ice water. Oh, it's there. Give me one of those, man. Please.
Here's Jarir.
Jarir has Majma' al-Amthal. Wallahi, I'm going to order this book on a live stream.
Oh, but it's currently out of stock.
Oh, I'm not going to order this book on a live stream.
Can I have
Well, I say, y'all gonna see how I do things in my life, in live time.
شنو انت حلفت؟
It's 4 volumes.
هل انت حلفت؟
ها؟
هل انت حلفت؟
What؟
هل انت حلفت؟
أنا حلفت إيش؟
حلفت؟
حلفت إيش؟
اظنك انت قلت يعني والله انت تطلبه في
إذا كان موجودا هذا الشرف كان في الرأس.
الواو اسمه جر.
Ooh, that was cool, man. That poured all over my leg, man. Oh, that's got to melt.
So, do I bring the wasabi tomorrow, right?
If you show up.
I'll try to show it. I want you to check my notes too.
Oh, yeah, that was cool, man. All right, yeah, so anyways, back to the mithal here. So, Ramatni bidaiha when salat, it means that she threw her sickness onto me. Like, basically, she accused me of doing what she does when salat, and then harabat, or kharajat, or, you know, and she escaped. Like, you know, she accused me of having a sickness that she has, and then she ran away. What are you sending me? What's up for?
I'll send you the link
For what?
for the Najma Azizah.
You said it's not available. What are you sending me
No,
for
like,
a book that's not even available?
If you ever go back to it.
Man, if you people from Judea are listening, get Majmal Amthal, please. So
When we go to San Diego, probably we should stop by a daily bookstore.
So, Ramatni Bidaiha Salat is, she threw her sickness onto me, like she accused me of having what she being. Because you know how women are, when they get angry, they want to insult you, but they really say what they are. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what women do when they get really, really emotional, you know, so, because she's looking at everybody and she's judging you based on the lens that she has for herself, because the women are the most judgmental of themselves. So they always, you know, so if you ever want to know, you know, that's why, man, if a man really wants to be smart and really wants to have a good relationship with his wife, just listen. Keep your mouth shut and just listen, because she's going to tell you everything about herself if you just let her talk. Because that's what she does. She sits back and judges herself more than anybody else. She judges other people just like everybody, but she's really, really hard on herself. She notices everything, and that stuff comes out when she gets emotional. She sits back and be quiet. When man ain't got no wisdom, man. All right, but you can download it though. Archive.com. They have 2 volumes. You can download it, the PDF, at least, and just look through it to see what it is. All right, I don't even know now why I even mentioned that. Why did I mention that in the first place?
Because you were talking about the Jahiliyyah quote. The quote from Jahiliyyah, Ramaytu.
I know that, but I'm saying, why did I quote that in the first place?
I think you just quoted it.
Well, there you go. Who cares? Get much mile on top. I'll go back in and re-listen to this and be like, oh, that's what it was. Oh, all right, so that's that, right? So if we have any type of disciplining, the disciplining should be based first and foremost on deen, and then everything else later, you know. حدثنا محمد بن السلام, all right, 171. أخبرنا أبو معاوية عن صاحبي الأعمش. Sahibi is not a part of the chain of narration. He's just, I love Al-A'mash. I love him. Wallahi, for the sake of Allah. I wish we had Al-A'mash today. Where is he? Wallahi. I would love to go sit with Al-A'mash today.
He makes it.
Huh? I mean, he can spit on me, he can do whatever he wants, man, but like, subhanAllah, that would be nice. Not to be spit on, but I'm just saying, you know, I'll be patient. As long as I'm getting knowledge, you know, that's what the whole thing about getting knowledge is anyways. You know, people sit there and say, oh, we spit on them. Yeah, akhi, to get knowledge, well, you got to be patient with way more than somebody spitting on you. So if you can't be patient with that, if the sheikh is going to spit on you because, you know, to see if you're going to talk, so he can narrate hadith, and you're going to get the hadith from him. You know, going back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man, let him spit. Let him spit all he wants.
Do you know the story of Al-A'mash when A'mash yelled at one of the students in front of everyone, and then there was like a Ammi, like he's not a student, he's just a layman. And he told the student, he said, if I were you, he said, if he yelled at me like that, I would have just left. And A'mash heard him, and he said, and you want him to be pleased to be an idiot like you?
Yeah. That's him. Yeah, man. You go read the stories from about Al-A'mash and the Sharf al-Ashab al-Hadith.
He said, أترضى, he said like, he said something like, أترضى أن يكون أحمق مثلك, like, like, are you, something like that, but he was talking to him.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah. That's A'mash, man.
And he said, أتريده أن يكون أحمق مثلك. He said like that.
You can read the stories in Sharf al-Ashab al-Hadith, the Khatib al-Baghdadi. You can also read in Sirah Alam al-Nubala. I got, there's a brother from Philly, Allah Yubarak Fi. He sent me Hilyat al-Awliya, so I want to sit back and read what stories he brings about Al-A'mash in that book, inshallah. Alright, so Al-A'mash, what is Al-A'mash's name? What? Y'all ain't going to answer, but I guarantee you they're going to answer.
Google.
No, they're not using Google, because they pay attention in the class.
Which class was it?
We've said it over and over and over. Y'all hurry up and answer so he doesn't think you're using Google. Sulaiman, what am I saying today for? Al-A'mash, what is Al-A'mash's name? Oh, thanks, Hamid Jamali, Sulaiman. I just gave you that. Where's the second part? Ibn Mihran, there you go. Alright, so Hadathana Muhammad ibn Salam, and also Jakarta, Sulaiman ibn Mihran. Yeah. Thank you for being smarter than the people who are present. قال أخبرنا أبو معاوية عن الأعمش عن إبراهيم التيمي عن أبيه عن أبي مسعود رضي الله عنه قال كنت أضرب غلاما لي. This hadith isn't Sahih Muslim, by the way, so y'all can go ahead and understand that this hadith is authentic. All right. عن أبي مسعود رضي الله عنه قال كنت أضرب غلاما لي فسمعت من خلفي صوتا اعلم أبا مسعود والله أقدر عليك منك عليه فالتفت فإذا هو رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قلت يا رسول الله فهو حر لوجه الله فقال أما إن لو لم تفعل لمستك النار أو لفحتك النار. Alright, so here Abu Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he reported that he was beating his young servant. Alright, he was beating him, obviously. He said, كنت أضرب غلامي, so harshly. And he said, I heard from behind me a sound, a salt. Because at this time, when you're beating, you're like really emotional, and you're really heated, and people are talking, you don't really recognize. So he didn't recognize that the voice at first was the Prophet ﷺ. And there's different narrations of the hadith, and then when he came to and he knew that it was the Prophet, he had like a salt in his hand. It's like a whip, and he was just slashing the boy. And he said when he turned around and he saw that it was the Prophet, that it fell out of his hand. Because once he came to, he's like, oh no, I did something wrong. And he told him, he said, I'lam, Abu Mas'ud. He said, no, oh Abu Mas'ud. Allahu Aqdar. And this is for what? Tawheed here. Allah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has more qudra, more power over you than you have over that boy. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do to you what you can't do, it's more severe. Like what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can punish you with is way more severe than what you're doing to that boy if you don't stop, basically. Tafata, it means what? It means that you turn with your whole body. If you're just turning with your neck, what is it? No. Iltafata, you turn around with your whole body. Come on, man. It came in the hadith about al-maut. It was dhabh al-maut. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ينادي أهل الجنة فقال يا أهل الجنة فيشرئبون. Yishra'ibun, it means what? Ishra'abba, it means you just turn with what? You turn around with your neck only. You look back, all right. But iltafata with your whole body. So he said, فَالْتَفَتُّ فَإِذَا هُوَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Then when he turned around, he saw that it was the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is where, in the other narration, that the whip fell out of his hand, but it's not mentioned in this narration. قُلْتُ يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. He said, "O messenger of Allah, فَهُوَ حُرٌّ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ." He's free And I make him free by, seeking, the face of Allah. So he freed him at that point because he knew that he had transgressed far beyond what was acceptable. فَقَالَ أَمَّا إِنْ لَوْ لَمْ تَفْعَلْ. He said, and if you didn't do that, لَمَسَتْكَ النَّارِ, that the fire would have touched you. And in another one he said, لَفَحَتْكَ النَّارِ. Lafahat means what? Lafahat means asaba an-nar wajhahu. Like it will burn your face. The fire would have burned your face. Lafahat an-nar, lafahathu an-nar. It means that the fire burned his face. وَأَحْرَقَتْهُ. Alright. So he said if you didn't do that, if you didn't free him, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have punished you for what you did for your transgression. Alright. So you see also, in this case, this is a beautiful narration of a Sahabi whose emotions got the better of him, right? And he beat this boy, but you see how quick he was in returning to the obedience of Allah. Like, once he saw the Prophet ﷺ, what happened? All the anger, gone. And this is the same way that we should be. Even if we're angry, if the people come up and give you advice with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that should be what? That should be a means of, you just chill it out immediately. If somebody gives you an ayah from the Quran, and you hear the speech of Allah, you hear the speech of the Messenger ﷺ, you should chill out immediately. You shouldn't continue on in the anger, because that means that your emotions are more important than the evidence that's being presented to you. No, the evidence and going back to the obedience of Allah and His Messenger are more important than your emotions. Important than all of our emotions. So you see this, when he saw the Messenger, stopped immediately, fell out of his hand, and just dropped it and freed the boy immediately. No, he didn't go home and think about it. He didn't say, oh, let me go, no, he said he's free. Right then and there. As soon, but Allah musta'an. Wallahi, if we could only just take on this type of character. If we could put the value of the Quran and the Sunnah to this state where the Quran and the Sunnah overpowers our emotions, and it takes precedence over our emotions. Because wallahi, today the people that their emotions are what dictate how they act. And if their emotions at that time, if they're in a good mood and they're happy to hear advice, they'll take it. Oh yeah, call a Rasul, and he's like, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's all happy to hear, to sit there and hear the hadith. But if he's not in that state of emotion, and then you see him completely rejecting everything and going completely against it because it's not in line with his emotions at the time.
Oh, the sponge thing is right next to your foot.
What?
The sponge for the microphone.
Oh, the fluffy thing.
Yeah.
Sponge thing. It's not like a sponge. Questions from the top. Stop don't cherry pick now.
Hamid says Nasi. Because with the question.
Nasi'at. With a ta marbuta. It's like mu'ajjal. Like it's the payment is postponed.
Vet Rose says a brother wants to know how can he overcome the addiction of looking at haram and whatever is associated with that. The brother is asking for help, and what measures should he take to cure himself?
Get married. Get you a nice beautiful woman to look at all day long and look at the halal. And look at whatever's halal for you. Go get married. If it's that much of a fitna that you can't control yourself, then it's an obligation upon you to get married. You don't have the money, then it's an obligation for you to go work and get a halal job, where you get halal money and get a halal wife. So halal to look at. Otherwise, halas, and there's no way. If that's your weakness, that's your weakness. How are you gonna stop it? Go get married. If you can't control yourself, halas. If it's at that point, you go get married. That's it. And if one's not enough, go get a second one.
من المسلمين alhamdulillah rabbil alameen says, what is the best print and tahqiq for Adab and Mufrad?
What we're using is the daughter of the Josie. I don't know if can you see that? Because I can't see it. Because there's a time lapse, so we can't. Y'all can see that. I don't know. Let's see. It's coming right now. So that's what we use. The best tahqiq is obviously the tahqiq of Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah. But what he did with the book, this is what he did with the book.
No change.
He took out the chains of narration, he put the hadith of the life at the end, and he took out all the athar of the Sahaba. He only kept the hadith on it, which is good. I mean, if you want to memorize this book, this is the one that you want to have for memorization purposes. But to read it, no. You read it the way that Shaykh Imam al-Bukhari wrote it. That's the way he wrote it, that's what you read. That's it. I don't like the stuff that people keep doing with the books, man, changing things up, taking out, changing narration. Man, this change in narration is what we need to be promoting with the people. This is what we need to get the people accustomed to and loving more than anything else. Because this is like the distinguishing. This is what distinguishes our deen. This is what kept everything in line with that chain of narration. Like to take that out of the books is like a travesty. And the Imam wrote that book with a chain of narration. Keep the chain of narration in. This is what we need to be motivating the people to do anyways. We need to be motivating the people to get accustomed to reading these chains of narration. To see that as one of the most important aspects of, because this is what separates Ahl al-Hadith from Ahl al-Fiqh. Ahl al-Fiqh, they don't pay attention to the chain of narration. They pay attention to the method of the Hadith because they want to take out the masail. But what they do is now, they don't care whether, the Hadith, they don't know whether the Hadith is da'if or not. So they end up taking, masail from Hadith that are da'ifah and then saying, well, this is this and this is that. And then Ahl al-Hadith come along and say, no, it's not. Because they bring it and they show that to the people. And that's why I say, whenever I take the issues of fiqh, I go back to Ahl al-Hadith because they focus on, first off, the Hadith being sahih. Because we can't take ahkam. We're not going to build our deen off of ahkam taken from Hadith da'ifah.
I think Muslimin alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, I think they were adding, or just I think they misunderstood what I said about the story of Al-A'mash. So it was basically Al-A'mash was giving a dars, and there were obviously his students were there, and there was someone from the Awam. And then the A'mash yelled at one of the students in front of everyone. And then the Ammi told the student of knowledge, he said, like, oh, if he yelled at me, I would have just walked away. And Al-A'mash heard him, and he said, like, and do you want him to be pleased to be an idiot like you? That's what he said. He didn't make dua against him, as far as I know. But Vetro says...
Hold on, because Hamid Jamal, he said one time he mentioned you wouldn't trade anything in this dunya for the Arabic language. Actually, nothing. If I, like right now, just sitting in the Maj, I wouldn't trade that for nothing. And there's nothing in the dunya that, could you imagine that, like if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with knowledge, and where, bless you with the Arabic language, that you can sit down and you can read the Quran, you can read the Sunnah, and you can understand it. But then, you get a choice to say, okay, you can keep this knowledge that you have. Or, you can give up this knowledge that you've gotten, and you'll have $20 million a year, a big mansion, you'll be dating superstar women, and driving nice cars, if you just exchange this for that. Please. Wallahi, man, we sit like just like I told brother, I remember when we were talking with Sajid when we first got to Jacksonville, I said, actually, I don't care if I have to post a tent outside the masjid. They won't let me teach, I'll post a tent outside the masjid and just stay in a tent and live in a tent just so I could sit there and teach in the masjid. Because I couldn't get to the masjid. I couldn't get an apartment close to the masjid. And I said, if it comes down to that, I'll just get a tent, man, we'll post a tent up outside and we'll just, whatever. That way we can have the classes in the masjid. Who cares? Who cares about this dunya, man? This dunya is garbage out here. Well, you look at the people and the things that they get happy about. Oh, stupid.
Their paycheck. They get happy when they could go to the club with a girl. They get happy when a girl looks at them. Hey, you see that girl? She likes you.
Yeah, and she's gonna be looking at another dude next week, sleeping with another dude next week.
Oh, that's shit.
Stupid. I see people stupid. Like dumb. And the worst thing is the Muslims that think this is the cool way to go. Just like what we're talking about in the khutbah today, like what? All this stuff being glorified.
يعلمون ظاهرا من الحياة الدنيا
Mm.
وهم عن الآخرة هم.
غافلون.
That would be a good time if you could explain. If you could explain that.
I think we've gone over that ayat quite a few times. As I use that quite a few times in different talks.
I told you after your first khutbah what Al-Hasan al-Basri said about this verse. He said like, this verse like, if there's like someone who sells gold, he can see from very far away if this gold is real, how much does it weigh, and its quality, and its quantity. But when it comes to the salah, he has no knowledge of the deen. And then Hasan al-Basri said this person falls under this ayah. That's,
Yeah, because that's all they have as far as the dunya. They have a superficial understanding. They don't even have an in-depth understanding. Actually, they're guessing. They're guessing, and every single year they change their science and everything. Their guesses change like every 10 years. Like the stuff that we studied in science class when I was a kid is not the same thing that the kids are studying now. They keep changing and changing and changing because they don't know nothing. Well, I mean, if the Muslims understood the Quran, actually we'd be above them in every single thing, everything. You know, and they won't be able to lie to us and spread this garbage that they're spreading amongst the Muslims. And the Muslims just like, oh yeah, well that sounds good. You know, the Kuffar told us this, and you know those Western guys, you know, gotta believe the West. You know, nah, man.
after that class we had with, we were talking about Antarctica, and after we spoke about the whole space and the sun and all this, ever since that class, I just rejected it, like, how do you say, like everything in school, I just let it go.
They're kuffar. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala samahum kuffar. And who else did he call it kuffar in the Quran? Al-Fallah.
Oh, the Yahud and the...
No, Al-Fallah is a farmer. Why? Because the meaning of the word kafara in the Arabic language is satara. Because al-farmer, al-fallah, al-kafir, is al-fallah, al-muzari'. هو يكفر البذر في الأرض ويستره في الأرض. When he's planting the seeds in the ground, he covers them with dirt. He covers them, so that's why he's called it kafir. ليعجب الكفار نباتا. Is that it? Check it.
No, it is.
Alright, so that, kufar, the kafara in the Arabic language, it originally means to cover up something, and it's used for a farmer. So the original meaning of kafir was a farmer. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used that in the Quran. But now, these people now become known as kufar, and this is istilahan, Islamian. This is now from the terminology of Islam, and the definition that came about through Islam is because whom yasturun al-haqqa bil-batil. They cover the truth with falsehood. So if you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called them kuffar, and you understand that this is what kufr means, that they cover up the truth with falsehood, why would you believe anything that they say anyways? They talk about science, if they talk about nutrition, if they talk about anything, if they talk about the air that we breathe, why would you believe them? Oh, khalas, man.
You got the earth, you got the crust, and then you got the mantle, then you got this.
They don't know. They don't know, akhi. They made a hole. They made a hole in Russia. It was the deepest hole that they ever dug, and you can go look it up. All of them got together to dig this hole. They tried to drill to go down as far as they could, and they kept going and going and going and going. If what they say is true about the core of the earth and all this stuff, then why didn't the drill that they have, why didn't it melt when it got deep? Go look up how many, you looking it up? Go look up that hole in Russia and see how many hundreds of miles down they drilled. So why didn't their drill melt when it got down to so far in the earth, since it's so hot down there? Why did it melt? It's still, So, I mean, they're liars, akhi. Wallahi, they're liars. I mean, wallahi, if we raise up our children on the correct understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah, wallahi, our children would listen to this stuff and laugh. They should laugh. They should laugh and just see the stupidity of the stuff that they try to teach the people. And the thing is that they have a science for themselves, and they have a science for teaching the people. So they have stuff that they teach the people in school, and they have science for themselves. And these are two different sciences. There's a science for the slaves and a science for the blue-blood elite type people. They don't believe the stuff that they put in these school books.
What's the big blue?
The blue bloods, man, the elites.
No, what's the science?
Huh?
Quote unquote real stuff, or
Yeah, like the real geography and real stuff, because all of these maps that used to exist from China, from Turkey, man, they took all that stuff, they hid that stuff from the people. They hid that stuff. So the original maps that were drawn up, I think, were drawn up by Muslims. You know, they had Muslims from Turkey, Muslims from Maghreb, because the first Muslims that like crossed across and they had America already on these maps. It was already there. But there was nothing like, you know, because you got to understand, the Muslims at that time, I forgot the name of the book. Well, I got to go check the name of the book. I have it on my other laptop, the one that got destroyed. So I need to download, I need to take all my books, because I can still use that laptop on it. Like I could put it on, I could connect it like an HDMI cable to a TV or to a monitor, and it will work. So I can need to get those books off and get that. There's one specific book where they talked about the trip. This was in 600, I think. This is from Andalus, where they made trips to America in Arabic. But they didn't say America per se. They just said that we crossed an ocean that was like, it was so hot that it kind of hit the bakhar, you know, that the steam was coming off the ocean. And the hottest ocean in the world is what? The Atlantic Ocean. So they crossed that ocean. So if they crossed the Atlantic Ocean, where did they go? And if they crossed across the hot part of it, where the steam is, that means they're going through like the more tropical regions of the Atlantic Ocean. Where did they go?
like in school, they told me to believe, obviously, and everyone else to believe, is that if a plane, like absolutely nothing can cross the Atlantic Ocean because everything's just gonna sink down. Is that what is your viewpoint on that?
Nothing can cross the Atlantic Ocean.
They said like if a boat was to go through the Atlantic Ocean, or a plane, it would be destroyed.
How? How do you get the stuff from Amazon?
That's what they said. I mean, I'm not saying
I ordered stuff on Amazon from America. It took weeks because they were sending it on a ship. So when we ship things from like overseas to here on the boats, what do they have to go all the way around? Where do they go? They cross the Atlantic Ocean. People across the Atlantic Ocean, Achi, on a life preserver, like a little raft, Achi.
I'm saying that's what I remember in science class, they told me really no plane can fly over the Atlantic Ocean because it's gonna sink, and no ship can go because it's gonna get destroyed. That's what they did. I don't know saying that before, so.
I mean, you gotta follow the ships. They follow the flow, the tides of the water, because there's tides, and you gotta flow along with those tides. But I mean, they cross the Atlantic Ocean all the time. You know.
Well, the last thing, like the kuffar, like in school, they told us to believe that atmosphere exists. But the people, like, you know, the ignorant Muslims of today, they try, because, you know, they try to very, like, how you say, quote unquote, surprise the kuffar. They try to say one of the scientific miracles that are in the Quran 1,400 years ago is about the atmosphere and the ozone layer. And then they try to quote the verse of Surah Al-Anbiya, وَجَعَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ سَقَفًا مَحْفُوظًا. وَجَعَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ سَقَفًا مَحْفُوظًا. What is that?
Saqaf is a firmament. It's enclosed. It's enclosed like that. It's a saqaf. Yeah, you can't go past it. Yeah, it's an enclosure. The earth is enclosed.
And this refutes the quote unquote we visited the moon.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I mean, the moon is within that enclosure, and that's not out of the sama. All of that's within the sama dunya. All of that. All this garbage about the sun. Again, actually, man, stop believing this stuff in science class.
No, I don't believe it. That's the thing.
Anybody who's been on a plane crossing the Atlantic Ocean, you know, you ever been on a plane when you looked at the sunrise? You look at the sun, and the sun's like right there. The sun is like literally right there. You could like see it like right there. It's almost like if the plane just took a left turn and went, you could like literally fly the plane to the sun, and you could see the clouds behind it, the clouds in front of it, and everything like that. Does that sun look like it's billions of miles away? All right, crackheads, man. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, but using the Quran to prove science and prove this, no, man. Because the thing is that the Prophet ﷺ, who understood the Quran better than anybody else? The messenger. And who understood it after him? The Sahaba. I mean the Sahaba, the Jumla. So the point is, it's like, okay, did they ever go around sitting there talking about the science and, calling the people to the science? No, they called the people to Tawheed. They called the people to the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't call the kuffar to the scientific miracles. We're not calling them to understand, like we're not taking them from science to science. We're taking them from kufr to Tawheed, to Islam. This is what, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guiding them. Like, well, this is what we're giving them da'wah to. This is what we're trying to get them to move from. We're trying to get them to understand that this is the deen, that this is the truth. Actually, the science ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, so they quote.
The Quran wasn't sent down for science.
Yeah, the quote of they say وَجَعَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ سَقَفًا مَحْفُوظًا. They say this means the ozone layer, like the quote unquote.
This means you're a crackhead.
I'm being serious. Wallahi, they did, especially on Instagram and TikTok. They use
What's the verse they use?
وَجَعَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ, and then we have made like the heaven سَقَفًا, like how do you
A
translate
ceiling.
a ceiling. And
Like,
like
when the clothes are over you. Yeah. We'll go back to the questions, inshallah. Because there's a lot. And it is Friday. We gotta give the people their rights on a Friday. And if we go over, can't you just go pick up your brother and come back here?
right now?
No, I'm saying when you gotta pick up your brother, can't you just bring him back here first? And then we pray he should.
We could do that. I'm just saying.
But you need to call him right now and tell him to get some stuff ready.
I want some Reese's.
Huh?
Some Reese's. Reese's. You remember after the he said, no, that's not for you. You remember?
Yeah, that was.
We were planning that ever since.
Look, I don't want you. I don't want your chicken nuggets and your chili dogs.
No, we're just messing.
I go home. I got chicken fingers in the refrigerator, barbecue, and baby Ray's barbecue sauce in the. We got baby Ray's barbecue sauce and we got Louisiana hot sauce. We don't need.
We were planning this ever since the COVID.
And you were just waiting for me to want something just so you could throw this back in my face. No.
I just wanted one Reese's and you're like, no, this is not for you.
I said go get the boxes of Skittles. Did you get the Skittles?
I was just messing, but I could tell him to get
They
rid
were
of it.
handing out a box like that, the Skittles, man. You want to reach
There's 4 of us, so. Plus I'm hungry too, so.
Alright, you contact your brother. I'll read the questions, inshallah.
We stopped off at Vet Row. The brother wants to know how. No.
No, I stopped off at Hamid, which is after that.
No, he said, what are your thoughts on, I think, LA or La Madhab haters, especially from Muqallid Madhab adherents? I'll let you handle that.
Instead, what are your thoughts on LA? What is this, from Los Angeles? Or is this French?
La.
La Madhab.
Oh, La Madhab.
Oh, La Madhab haters. Oh, like the people who, I don't know, who cares about them?
I'm gonna call him.
Like, that's the whole, we've been talking about this for days and days and days and days and days. You go back and you tell the madhab haters, or the la madhab haters, along with time, like, go back and go, where did the person that you follow, where did he get his madhab from in the first place? And he didn't, what madhab did he follow? He didn't follow the madhab that you're calling the people to in the first place. The Salaf is who we follow. Now, that was one of the narrations that I was going to read. It's right here in this book, Al-Mukhtar. And the hadith is in Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. He said, قال إن الله نظر في قلوب العباد فوجد قلب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم خير قلوب العباد فاصطفاه لنفسه فابتعثه برسالته ثم نظر في قلوب العباد بعد قلب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم فوجد قلوب أصحابه خير قلوب العباد فجعلهم وزراء نبيه يقاتلون على دينه فما رأى المسلمون حسنا فهو عند الله حسن وما رأوا سيئا فهو عند الله سيئ. And this is in Musnad of Imam Ahmed. So this hadith is reported on Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. And he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he looked in the hearts of all of his servants on the face of the earth at the time.
Do you want cheese? Do you want cheese?
Cheese what?
Cheese on your burger.
Man, hey, I want one of those chili cheese dogs, man.
So cheese.
Huh?
Cheese or so you
No, I want a chili cheese dog.
So chili cheese all on the
Tell them don't put no mustard up on that thing, man, please.
We don't put chili cheese dog on the. I mean, we don't put mustard on the chili cheese dog.
Alright, okay, just
So
take
you want the
it.
burger and the chili cheese dog?
No, I just want the chili cheese dog.
What about for him cheese or no?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, inshallah.
Safe. He's out, man. Safe. That's what happens to kids that can't take it.
Oh my God. That'll cost more Reese's.
I sit up here every night trying to give you something better than Reese's, and you keep focusing on Reese's.
I know, I told you, we were planning and we were like, just wait.
Vengeful, man, vengeful. You're like a bunch of women, man. You're sitting there waiting for revenge. I'm gonna wait till he makes a mistake and throw everything on him. Oh, wow. Wait till y'all get married and y'all have to go through that. Alright, so, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, in Allah, so Allah, he looked at the hearts of all of his servants, and he found that the heart of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the best, it was the best of all the hearts of all of his servants. So he chose him, he chose him for himself. فابتعثه, and he sent him برسالته, he sent him with his revelation. ثم نظر في قلوب العباد, and then he looked at the rest of the servants, of the hearts of all of the servants, after the heart of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فوجد قلوب أصحابه خير قلوب العباد, and he found that the hearts of his companions are the best of all the hearts of all the servants on the face of the earth. And when he's talking about the ibad here, what is he talking about? Al-ibad ma'na ish al-am.
You want fries?
Yeah.
Because I'm submitting the order.
He's talking about the servants. Yeah.
You want fries or no?
But he's talking about the general meaning of servants, that everybody is under the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everybody is a servant to Allah. Even these kuffar who don't worship him the way that he commands them to worship, but they still fall under the what?
Under his qadr.
Yeah, so they're still servants in a general sense, but not in a specific sense.
وله أسلم ما في السماوات والأرض.
Mm.
سورة آل عمران. أفغير دين الله يبغون وله أسلم ما في السماوات والأرض. طاع وكرم.
Yeah, so they submit regardless. So he said that they're the best hearts of all the servants. فَجَعْلَهُمْ وُزَرَاءَ نَبِيِّهِ, and he made them the deputies, or I guess you could say like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is deputy. So in the Prophet's absence, who do you go to? You go to his companions. If he dies, then you go to his companions. You go to his biggest companions. When they die, you go to the next in line, next in line, next in line. Alright. So the wuzara nabihi, yuqatiluna ala dini, they fight to protect his deen, they fight for his deen. فَمَا رَأَى الْمُسْلِمُونَ حَسَنًا, so whatever the Muslimun see as good, oh, and Allah hasan, and it's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala good. This is talking about the Sahaba. Alright, it's not talking about the Muslimun in 2024. Alright, this is talking about what? The Sahaba. So what the Sahaba agreed on, what they come together and they said that this is good, this is what we need to do, then it's عند الله what? Hasan. Then it's good. وَمَا رَآهُ سَيِّئًا فَهُوَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ سَيِّئًا. And whatever they see as being not good, as being wrong, as being evil, then it's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as they saw it.
Do you want avocado?
No. Why would I want avocado on a chili cheeseburger? Actually, that's the craziest question I've heard this whole entire year. Avocado on a chili cheeseburger. Not a chili cheeseburger, I mean chili cheese hot dog. Whatever else, chili cheese anything. What would you put avocado on that for?
We could put...
Did I look like my name is Becky?
Avocado is good.
Avocado, man, come on, man.
We could do a chili cheeseburger if you want. We sell those.
You sell chili cheeseburgers?
We sell them.
Nah, I want the chili cheese hot dog, man. It's not very much you get a halal chili cheese hot dog. Burgers, you can get halal burgers, that's easy, but I can make them at home, but chili cheese hot dogs, come on. So this is the point, right? And the hadith before that, which is the hadith on Adab ibn Sa'di, قال صلى بنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Everybody knows this hadith, but this is a narration, another narration. So if people sit here and say, oh no, that's not the way that I memorized it in Arba'in an-Nawawiyya, well, that's not the only narration of this hadith.
Can I take a picture?
No, you can't.
I mean, not of you.
No, because all this whole Reese's thing, and now you want to take a picture of my book? No, go find your own picture. You want to do it? I can do it too. Alright, so Al-Irbad ibn Sariya radiallahu anhu قال صلى بنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم ثم أقبل علينا. So the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم prayed with us one day, and then he turned to us. فوعظنا, and he preached to us. موعظة بليغة, a very strong sermon, right? ذرفت منها العيون, that caused the tears to flow from the eyes. ووجلت منها القلوب, and caused the hearts to shake up out of fear. فقال قائل, and then a person from amongst the people said, Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, كأنها موعظة مودع, that this is like it's a sermon of a person who's about to leave us. فماذا تعهدوا إلينا? So what do you advise us? What do you tell us? What do you advise us to do? فقال أوصيكم بتقوى الله. He said, I advise you and I command you with taqwa of Allah, to have taqwa, to obedience. What are y'all laughing and smiling about? What?
The chat part is funny, but obviously you got the lead.
I'm not looking at it. So, I command you to have taqwa of Allah. Alright, to stay in obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and stay away from His prohibitions. وَالسَّمِعِ وَطَاعَةِ, and to hear and to obey, but this is for the Muslim rulers. وَإِنْ عَبْدًا حَبَشِيًا, even if it's an Ethiopian slave. فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ يَعِيشْ مِنْكُمْ بَعْدِي فَسَيَرَى اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. And whoever from amongst you lives after me, he's going to see a lot of difference amongst the people. So what? What do we do with this difference? فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمَذْهَبِ Imam Ahmed, or Madhab, Imam Malik, or Madhab, what did the Prophet ﷺ say? فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالسُنَّةِ وَسُنَّةِ الْخُلَفَاءِ الْمَهْدِيِّينَ الرَّاشِدِينَ تَمَسَّكُوا بِهَا وَعَضُّوا عَلَيْهَا بِالنَّوَاجِذِ. So he said, it's upon you. And فَعَلَيْكُمْ, it means that this is incumbent upon you. This is wajib. And when you find yourself in this situation, when you find the people differing, فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالسُنَّةِ, and it's incumbent upon you to follow my sunnah. وَسُنَّةِ الْخُلَفَاءِ الْمَهْدِيِّينَ الرَّاشِدِينَ تَمَسَّكُوا بِهَا, and to follow the sunnah of the khulafa, al-mahdiyin, the guided ones. Sorry. Start calling them Kermit, man.
I have to go because I feel about 9 now, he said.
Alright, al-rashidin, and they're the ones that are guided. تَمَسَّكُوا بِهَا, and hold firm to this. وَعَضُّوا عَلَيْهَا, and bite onto it with your what? With your molar teeth. Because these are the strongest teeth that you have. Because if you bite onto it with your front teeth, somebody can rip the rope out of your mouth. But if you bite with what? With your molar teeth, that's the strongest grip that you have from amongst your teeth. وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَمُحْدَثَاتِ الْأُمُورِ, and beware of falling into these newly invented affairs, innovative affairs. فَإِنَّ كُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ, because every newly innovated affair is a bid'ah. It's an innovation. وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ, and every innovation is misguidance. This is in Sunan Abi Dawood. And the other hadith that I was going to read, in Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu qala, and this is reported on the authority also of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. He said, قَالَ إِنَّ الْأَمْرَ يَقُولُ إِلَى آخِرِهِ. He said, all of your affairs, it returns to what? To the last of it, to the last of what you're upon at the end. What you're upon at the end. وَإِنَّ أَمْلَكَ الْأَعْمَالِ بِهِ خَوَاتِمُهُ. And the best of what you have is what you have at what? At the end. And what is he talking about? He's talking about at the time of your death. He's talking about, it's not, it's about how you end your life. That you end your life with the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not that you live your life in obedience to Allah, and you say, okay, I've been doing this for 20 years, I'm going to relax now, I'm going to go have some fun, and then you die on that. No, that you die on the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِنَّكُمْ فِي خَوَاتِمِ الْأَعْمَالِ, and all of you now are in the final stage of your actions. Allah, and then he says, and this is the advice that he gave to the people after telling us, to prepare for the death, prepare and make sure that you know that you're doing everything to end your life on obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, أَلَا فَلَا يُقَلِّدَنَّ رَجُلٌ مِّنْكُمْ دِينَهُ رَجُلًا. And he said, so I advise you that nobody from amongst you should blind follow another person in his religion, in his deen. And amen. If he believes, you believe. When kafar, and if he disbelieves, you disbelieve, because you just following him. I'm going with the sheikh, and whatever he says, I'm that's it. I'm going to follow. This is the taqleed. He said, فَإِن كُنْتُمْ لَا بُدَّ فَاعِلِينَ. He said, and if it's an absolute necessity that you have to follow somebody, and this goes back to what the people always say, right? The people say, well, you know, I'm an army, I don't know how to take the advice of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. He said, فَإِن كُنْتُمْ لَا بُدَّ فَاعِلِينَ فَبِبَعْضِ مَنْ قَدَمَاتِ. He said, if it's an absolute necessity that you follow somebody, you know, you follow his opinion, then follow somebody who's already dead. Don't follow the people that are alive, because they can change. The person that's dead, you know what he died upon. You know that he died upon, like he lived his life on Quran and Sunnah, and that's what he died upon, and that's what you go back and you follow. But don't follow the people that are alive, because he could change. And then when he changes, what happens? You blind following him, and then you what? You change with him. And you follow him right out the back door. If he, you know. So he said, فَبِبَعْضِ مَنْ قَدَمَاتِ فَإِنَّ الْحَيْء لَا تُؤْمَنُ عَلَيْهِ الْفِتْنَةِ. Because the person who's alive is not secure from being overpowered by fitna, from trials and tribulations in his religion. And this is also reported by Abu Dawood, but in Az-Zuhd. It's not reported in the Sunnah, it's reported in the Zuhd. And the chain of narration is authentic. So this is the answer to the people. You go back to the Sahaba. You know, the best of all the hearts of the people, the Prophet ﷺ. So that's who we follow first and foremost. That's it. But we got to go back to the understanding. Who's understanding now? We'll go back to the understanding of the Sahaba. That's the madhab that we follow. And that's the madhab, inshallah, that we will continue to follow. That's the madhab that we bring our children up on. And that's the madhab, inshallah, that we hope to die upon. And the people can say whatever they want to say. Who cares? You know, people that have a lot of free time, they have a lot to say, don't they? And we don't care about these types of individuals. Allah Musta'an. Now I got to go down, down, down. All right, this is NK. I think they mean assalamu alaikum. I'm in my 20s, get a decent number of proposals, but many are average Muslims or Sufi. I'm getting older. Is it enough if I make dua and wait, or should I go out of my way to seek appropriate means, such as asking some close friends? I'm very shy to do, but seeing many sisters in their late 20s unmarried, I fear I might need to start. I mean, do whatever you got within your means to find a righteous person that's halal. Obviously, you're not going to run around tossing your phone number all over the place. But yeah, if you have friends that might, be able to talk to somebody or something like that, maybe, yeah, because I mean, might have friends that are married, and her husband might have friends that need to get married, and then, they're righteous and they're trying to follow the sunnah, and that's what you're looking for. And that's what you have to have. Like, if you're trying to be on the deen and you're trying to follow the sunnah, that's what you need. So you need to be patient and keep making dua. And again, what's the answer to all these questions? I always say the same thing to the people. What is it? All the answers to all your questions, when do you find them? The last third of the night. See, it's starting to get, you're getting it, man. You wake up in the last third of the night, you make dua. You really want something, get up in the last third of the night and make dua for it. You really, really want it. Mustafa said, what is the correct view regarding disobeying parents in regards to going to seek knowledge and they are not in need of you, marrying someone they forbid you from due to niqab or culture reasons? I mean, look, and when it comes to the deen, the obedience is first and foremost for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can't remember that line of poetry that the Mauritanians, they always recite. I'm out to look it up, but I remember the meaning of the poem, but I can't remember the exact wordings. But he said, the family and the family and the money in the family, fidelity. So you have two choices, because when a person goes out to seek knowledge, he's away from his family, he's away from his comfort, and he's away from everything. So he said that you have two choices. You can either be patient away from your family, or you can be patient with what? Ignorance. Because he said, الأهل والجهل في البلد أصبر على الأهل أو أصبر على ثاني, or something like that, right? So he said that ignorance and your family, they're in the village, they're in your village. And that's why you left, because of the ignorance. So you left out of that village because of what? You left your family because you want to seek knowledge. You want to go and get that ignorance away from you so you can go back and teach the people. So now when you're going out to seek knowledge, and now you got to be patient with like being away from your family, then he said, what you have that choice now. You can either be patient away from your family, or you can be patient going back to your village and remaining ignorant. Which one do you want to be patient with? So the same thing with the family. The family is going to try to give you a hard time when you're trying to practice the deen. The deen is over everything. Obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supersedes everything. So you don't put the obedience to anybody, even the parents, over the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, I mean, again, the parents, you got to understand too that on the day of judgment, that the parents, how are they going to be with you on the day of judgment if the parents are not, they're not in a state where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with them? How are they going to be with you? The parents are ready to sacrifice you and have you thrown in the hellfire just so they can go to Jannah. Actually, they don't care about you on the day of judgment. So you got to understand that you got to look at what's best for you, to prepare for the next life. You seek knowledge. Sometimes the parents will give you a hard time, but over time you start to see what? As long as you're consistent, they can't be. Their thing is emotional, right? And people who are emotional, they can't remain consistent. They get tired, and then they'll break down sooner or later. But it's all about you remaining consistent, and you just keep going and keep going and keep going. Because they see, a lot of the kids nowadays, they go through these like phases, right? One day he wants to be a football player, the next moment he wants to be a rapper, the next moment he wants to be a drug dealer. Who knows what's going through the kid's head. But there's these phases, right, that kids go through. So the parents, when you start to go through this phase of like seeking knowledge, that's what they look at. It's like what? It's just a phase, right? He'll grow out of it. But you just keep going. And they're like, well, he's not growing out of it. Then that starts to cause them like worry and concern, like, hold on, because they don't like this, right? But if you keep going and keep going and keep going, they break down sooner or later. Because they're not.
So many people when I took Shada, they told me, oh, I think it's just a phase.
Yeah, because for a lot of people it is. They come into the masjid, they take shahada, they're all like happy, like, wow, this is the best day of my life, man. 6 months later, what? Back in the nightclub, drinking and back hanging out with the same people that he left in the first place to become Muslim. Because it was a phase. It was just something new at the time. He was at a time of depression, and he found Islam at that time of depression. He felt like, okay, it helped him to deal with his depression. Once he coped with it, what? He just went right back to the life that he was living before. So, so some people actually do use Islam like that, but it's not good for them. All right. What's the ruling on doing something good but not intending to do it for the sake of Allah? Well, if you want reward for anything that you do that's good, you have to have the reward. The only way that you're going to get rewarded for it is doing it for the sake of Allah. If you're not doing it for the sake of Allah, that means you're doing it for the sake of what? For the people. So what reward are you going to get for that? So if you want the reward for it, you have to do it for the sake of Allah. Hamid Jamal says, so why did he free him? He freed him because he beat him. He beat him harshly. He transgressed in the way that he beat him. You're going back to you're obviously talking about the hadith. What advice would you give to someone who left off seeking knowledge and memorizing Quran for months and he is sad and regrets it and feels like he missed out? Stop being sad and get back to work. It's just like, I spoke about this before previously in the videos. Where I talked about it, and then I told the people, I said, you have to go every single day. You have to live your life with this like a wartime mindset. You can't dwell on, you can't sit back and dwell on this and this and this happening, it's just like you got to look at everything like you're in a war. You make a mistake, you fix the mistake, and you keep moving. If you sit there in a time of war, and you're sitting there dwelling on the mistake, oh my God, I did this, and I got these people killed, and all right, you made a mistake, but you sitting there dwelling on it, you're going to end up getting more people killed. So you need to, quickly assess the situation, look at what's going on, and then what? Fix it. If you see something wrong with your life, fix it and keep it moving. And you keep dwelling on things, and that's how Shaitan's going to really get you, because the enemy, that's what he's doing. He's waiting for you. And that enemy is Shaitan and his Junud and his army. And that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for you just to like what? Just like slip up get in that little state of like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this, and bam, they got you. So you can't, you see the situation, all right, you got lazy, and you went through this period of like, of negligence and ghafla. You see that you made a mistake, fix it and keep it moving. But don't try to this is another common mistake that people make whenever they notice that they made a mistake and they're trying to get back into it. They try to get back into like their previous routine or the way that they used to do things, but you left it off too long. You have to go back what? Yeah, gradual, and start to build up gradually until you get back into that routine. You just can't go back, and just do the things that you were doing when you were serious and then you stopped. So you go back and you start, okay, what's the first priority? The first priority is I have to get the Quran read every single day. That's priority number one. Do that for 90 days. Sit there and say like, okay, I'm going to read like 2 or 3 juz every day from the Quran for 90 days straight. Make a checklist, check it off, make sure that you keep track of what you're doing. And once those 90 days are up, you should already, you formulated what? You formulated a habit, right? It's a part of your life now. You couldn't imagine going a day without reading the Quran. So now add something else. Take Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim or whatever. Read 5 or 6 pages every day. Do that for 90 days. And just keep it moving and just keep building on it. And maybe you want to add a little bit of memorization or revision. You want to try to start revising the Quran or finish memorizing the Quran. Start doing it. But just little by little. Just start building and building and building. If someone mocks the Arabic language, like how letters sound, this is a sign of a hypocrite. Hating the Arabs and hating the Arabic language is a sign of hypocrisy according to Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. You can go back and check that in Iqtida' as-Sirat al-Mustaqim, which is a very beneficial book that the people who know Arabic language should read. It's a sign of hypocrisy, of nifaq, that the person hates Arabic language and hates the Arabs, because this deen was sent in the Arabic language, and the first people and the final messenger was from the Arabs. So we don't hate, anybody, especially hate, because these are the people that he was sent among at first. Obviously, the Prophet ﷺ was sent to all mankind, but he was sent with the Arabic language, and the speech of Allah came down in the Arabic language. So no, nobody should mock the Arabic language, and you should fear Allah with that type of stuff. How can a beginning student of knowledge navigate through the valid differences of opinion? For example, the length of qasr during safar. You have to go back to, older people that you trust. Like, for us, it was like, Shawkani was like the one. Shawkani and Amir al-Sanani. So we had Subul al-Salam and we had Nail al-Otar. And we had a Darani. So these were the books that we used to go back to in the beginning. And we're like, okay, we don't know, we don't have that strength to go back and look at all these differences of opinions, but these are the people that give their opinions based on, from Ahl al-Hadith. So this is what we're going to take. And then once you start to get once you get the ability, you get grounded, and, like I said, you got to understand, but you got to keep that in your mind, that not everything that Shawkani says, once you study more, that you're going to agree with. But, this is what you have now. This is the only thing that you have now. And then later on, you start to read different books. You start to expand, and then you start to, see maybe, okay, I don't agree with him on this. I agree with this, But first, you have to just start something very, very basic, Start reading the explanations of these books of hadith, like, you sit down and, read like the Sharh of Sahih Muslim, which is very, very basic. Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, he didn't go into he didn't make it difficult. He broke all the different masail down very, very simple, Still, the person dislikes praise, especially exaggerated praise. When someone praises them excessively, they associate it with lying. Is this done? If somebody praises you excessively, you should do what the Prophet ﷺ told you to do, and take dirt and throw it in their faces. Alright? He said, فَحْفُوا فِي وُجُوهِهِمْ التُّرَابَ. I believe in Hamza's not here to look up the hadith now. But check the hadith, inshallah. So, I'll check it now. The problem is because live stream is going. My phone is not letting me, shut up. Say who? Say. He's out, man. If he gets up talking about he doesn't need to make wudu, I'm gonna kick him. Alright, I found it. Alright, so the hadith, man, I got water on my hand. That's the reason why it's not. It's in the Muslim of Imam Ahmed. He said, this is reported on his daughter Abdullah ibn Umar, radiallahu anhu. He says, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول احثوا في وجوه المداحين تراب. He said, throw dirt in the faces of the people who praise. ثم أخذ ابن عمر تراب. And then Ibn Umar, he took dirt, فرما به في وجه المال. And he threw it in the face of the person praising him. Oh, I love the Sahaba. الله يرضى عنه رضي الله عنهم. سبحان الله. وقال هذا في وجهك ثلاث مرات. And he threw it in his face and he said, this is in your face. And he threw the dirt in the guy's face. That's what you do. If people praise you excessively, we follow the sunnah. Throw dirt in their faces. Throw dirt in their faces. Mustafa said, if the masjid is not near me and I pray salat in my house, is it okay for me to put alarm just 15 minutes before sunrise to use the washroom, do wudu and pray, or would it be mandatory to put alarm early? You have to get up before the sunrise. Because the Prophet ﷺ, you mentioned, من نام حتى أصبح فذاك بعد الشيطان في أذنيه. في أذنه وفي الرواية في أذنيه. He said that the person who sleeps until the sunrise, that means the time for Fajr. When the time for Fajr comes in, that's the sunrise. That's the Asbah. That's the walk to Subh. He said whoever sleeps to that time, then he said that's the one that Shaitan urinated in his ears. So you wake up before the sunrise. You wake up, you remember Allah, make wudu, and you get prepared for the salah. The guy said, why did Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab put some weak hadith in the Kitab al-Tawheed? Same reason why a lot of the ulama put weak hadiths in their books, because they're compiling what they have. Yeah. And the thing is that he might not have seen those hadiths as being weak. As we're going to see, inshallah, from tomorrow when we start the Sharia, al-Ajuri, because we'll be doing the Sharia on Saturday, and we'll do al-Bulugh Maram on Sunday, and then like that, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, every other day we'll be doing. So one day we'll do Sharia, inshallah, the next day we'll do al-Bulugh Maram, but you'll see he'll do the same thing. He'll bring narrations that are da'if, but he'll bring 4, 5, 6, 7 different chains of narration of the same hadith, because he's showing that all these different chains of narration, that's what he's making the hadith. He's making the hadith sahih based on those chains of narration. So maybe that's something that Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab did, but obviously we wouldn't know because he didn't put the book with chains of narration. Alright. This is just a bunch of back and forth that was going on before. Is it true that Muslim parents get rewarded for their children's good deeds? Inshallah, they're supporting their children in their good deeds and not fighting against them. I see Malik Muwatta. I guess you back in Oakland again, man. Allah Musta'an. Where you at, man? Please let us know the name of the book. The book is Al-Mukhtar min Ahadith Sayyid Al-Abrar. These are all the books, like the Ahadith that he compiled on Aqidah. May Allah guide him back to the truth. Safe. You want a cheeseburger? He's bringing you one right now. I hear that gate opening. Shoot. That's Hamza. Today I heard an imam saying, don't worry about the outward sunnahs of the Prophet, like dress, etc. The main sunnah was how he dealt with people. What do we say about this? He only had a 5 o'clock shadow. This is the dawah of the Ikhwani Muflisin. You know, the dawah of the Ikhwani Muflisin, you know, this is what they call the people to, oh, let's just focus on our behavior. No, man, everything, Akhi, because your outward appearance, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah said it best, right? He said, like, you know, he talked about this in the Iqtida' as-Sirat al-Mustaqim. And he's talking about, like, the effect that clothing and things, like, have on people and the effect that language and taking on the language of the kuffar. And he said, like, if I'm not mistaken, because it's been a while, I got to reread the book, but I'm just going off of, like, this is years ago that I read it. So inshallah I'll get this right. But he said, like, basically, if you took, like, if you took anybody, right, and you put them in the clothing of a soldier, he said you would immediately, like that, you would see his behavior and his demeanor change. Like his back will get straighter, and he'll, you know, because the clothing, what does it do? He knows that the clothing, it brings with it what? Yeah, like a behavior. Like there's a behavior that's attached to that clothing. You know, so now if you're dressing like a kafir, you know, the same thing, like if you so amongst the kuffar, there's different styles of dress, right? So you could dress like a hip-hop dude, or you could dress like a skater, but your demeanor and how you carry yourself is going to be different based on what? Yeah, how you dress and the clothing that you wear, and you know, and this is what he's talking about, the clothing and what it has the effects on the people. So when you dress like a kafir and you sit here and say, oh, you know, well, there's nothing wrong with it, we're just following, then that, what does that do? That shows something that's in your heart. All right. We got to wrap this up now, don't we? This is so many questions, man.
Hamza's in the chat. Hey, I saw Sister Amina. Over there, I was like right next to the AM/PM gas station. I was like, Sister Amina. I mean, obviously, I saw her on the road.
Getting gas?
No, she was just, she was at the stoplight. Oh. Right there. I was like, what the heck? I was shocked.
Well, she's human. She got to go out.
I know. I just didn't expect it.
And this is a neighborhood, you know, so yeah.
Sister Amin is a board member, just in case anyone's saying who.
Yeah, they don't need to know all that. Alright, so yeah. Like I said, man, I advise the people who have the ability to read that book, if the thought set off to get that book and read it. Because I mean, like I said, that talks about the effects of the language, the effects of the clothing, and all that. You know, when you start wearing and dressing like the kuffar, it's going to change your behavior. You know, just like if you were to put on a thobe and grow your beard and you're going to be shy about certain things, you know, because you're going to look in the mirror, right? You see yourself in the mirror and you're like, you're not going to want to act a certain way because you know what you look like. You know, if you're trying to look like the Prophet, there's certain behavior that you're just like, I'm not going to do that no more because I can't. Look at how it doesn't fit how you look, right? It doesn't fit the behavior. So I mean, and so no, it's Allahumma Musta'an. Clothing and everything, all of that stuff, everything. Why do we have these chapters? If these Ikhwani Muflisin are going to sit here and just delete this stuff from the deen like it's not important. Why do we have a chapter on clothing? Why do we have a chapter on these things if it's not important? Why did the ulama go all over the world collecting these hadith about the clothing of the Prophet ﷺ, how they dress? For what purpose? We have a hadith about how he brushed his hair, how he kept his hair. Did he part his hair like in the middle? Did he part it over here? All of these things we have a hadith about. Why? Because it's not important. So, no, I mean, subhanAllah, you see these idiots, akhi, wallahi, the people that call it this type of thing. Look at the shabab in the masjid now. The stupid haircuts that they have. Where did they get the idea to get these haircuts from? From what? From kuffar. From football players, from musicians, from rappers. You know, this is where they're getting it from. So now you're telling them that it's not important for them to follow the Prophet ﷺ, but you shut up when they're doing that type of stuff, when they're looking like the kuffar. That's okay. Ya akhi, wallahi, these ikhwani mukhlisin, wallahi, their da'wah is a da'wah nifaqiyah. Wallahi, it's calling the people to be hypocrites, wallahi. But being worse than the hypocrites before. Because not only do they not have love for Islam in their hearts, but they call the people to not even show Islam on the outward. Whereas the munafiqun from before, what were they? They would have the outward appearance. They would put on the clothing and they would dress the part, right? But their heart's empty. Nothing. Completely sealed up. There's no iman. But these ikhwani muflisin, what do? The exact opposite. Like their hypocrisy is worse than the hypocrisy from before. Because now not only do they warn against the outward appearance, but they also warn against even the correct aqidah. You know, even during, you go back to the wars in Afghanistan when they were getting involved in all these wars, what did they say? The people from Saudi, when they went to Afghanistan and they were fighting with the Afghanis, they noticed that all these Afghanis had these tama'im. Yeah, they had these amulets on them. And they started telling the people like, no man, this is haram, this is against Tawheed. And what did these ikhwan say? No, akhi, listen, if we sit here and argue about these things, the enemy's going to destroy us. Put this to the side right now. Right now, I'm Muslim, he's Muslim. Let's just fight the enemy. See, put the deen, put the tawheed, put the correct aqidah to the side. This is the type of, like I said, man, it's a da'wah ila nifaq. Wallahi, worse than the nifaq of the munafiqeen at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, because they're telling you, not only do you put the correct aqidah to the side, but you even put the correct outward appearance to the side. So what's left of you? What's left?
Remember Fahmi? Remember Fahmi?
Who's that?
Uncle.
He
said, Ikhwan al-Kafirun. No, al-Kafirin. He said, Ikhwan al-Kafirin. Because he
no,
said,
that's he can't.
No, one time he said, yeah, هذول الإخوان المسلمين إخوان الكافرين.
No.
He said, that's what he said.
That's why the Shaykh used to always call them al-Ikhwan al-Muflisun. You know, because they're what? They're Ikhwan and Muflis because they no khayr, no nothing, they have nothing. They're bankrupt in this deen.
Wait, just a quick question, because you said they have nifaq and they call against the aqidah. So what would make them
Ta'wil.
ta'wil?
Because they have this little ta'wil, the snaky ta'wil that they do.
So are all Ikhwanis the same, or are there branches of, like, there are, like, Shia, like Zaydis are Muslims?
Oh no, they love everybody except for Ahl Sunnah. The Ikhwan. Oh yeah, my Rafidi, he's Rafidi. My Shi'i, Sufi. But these Wahhabis. Yeah, you know what's in the hearts of the people, wallah. Like the Ikhwani Muslim, the Ikhwani Muflisin, they are 72 of the 73 sects all into one. Just missing that one, which is the Ta'ifat al-Mansura. That's not a part of them. So yeah.
Did you release you didn't release the daily hadith, did you?
Was that?
Did you release the daily hadith from last night?
No, because we accidentally skipped a lesson. We recorded lesson 61 and skipped 60. You got daily hadith with you? We got to record 60 tomorrow.
Oh, the food's getting cold.
Yeah, I'm just checking real fast and then...
You want the soda right now, or?
And Jakarta says, Ustad, does the hadith about wearing white clothes also apply to women? Can women wear a white jilbab or white niqab? The women should not be, because the women should be wearing anything that's attract attention to them. Should not wear anything that's going to attract attention to them. Like right now, like for example, you see the believing women and you see what they wear. And then that's what you want to look like, that's what you dress like. You know? What if it's happening online? Can we just say, just please don't praise me? Yeah. You can't throw dirt in a person's face if they're online, can you?
Block.
Huh?
Block.
Yeah, or find somebody that lives close to them and tell them to go throw dirt in their face. Yeah, people that praise a lot, I don't answer the phone for them. I don't chat. Like, that's done. Like, you sit here and do all that stuff, I'm done.
Every sentence, share.
It's like praising. After you will I start to like really hate that person. Really start to hate that person. Hamid Jamal said, Daughter Mufrad, Jam Bayan, no, because I promised Hamza that we're going to do Sharia if he stayed. So he stayed and he reminded me of my promise even though I didn't want to fulfill it, but I have to. I wanted to read Jam Bayan, but I promised him.
Oh yeah, we need to do, someone says in the chat, we need to clip all the burger talk, Sheikh, we're talking gems. Do a daily audio.
Clip all the burger talk.
No, the burger talk is a gem. Talking about, you learn the stance of the economic state of the world in the world of restaurants.
But I think we're gonna have to wrap this up, man. It's too much, and that food is getting cold. So sorry. And if I didn't, I'll check all these comments tomorrow. If there's an important question, inshallah, I'll answer it tomorrow, inshallah.
Let's pray. We got Isha Namaz.
What did you give him, man? He's over here tripping now. He comes back like